Hello, welcome to week 2 of the City Business Festival. My name is Vivian Kai Loko. Thank you for staying with us for week 1, and thank you for still staying with us for week 2. Week 1, we focused on technology, digital technology. Week 2, our focus is on agriculture, the big one. Today on our forum, we'll be looking at the value chain. We'll be looking at the opportunities and challenges and how we can propel this very important industry to the next level as a country called Ghana. We'll be right back. And you're welcome back to the City Business Festival Week 2. This program is a forum which we're having 3 of them. First on technology, this week on agriculture. Our focus for today is exploring agribusiness growth opportunities. My name is Vivian Kai Loko. I'll be the one steering the ship for today's edition of our panel discussion. Now, I need to introduce to you my panel who will be helping me dissect all the issues we need to dissect on the issue of agriculture. So in the seat for today, the first person, I have Professor Irene Susan Ejiri. She's a farmer. She's also a professor of agri-economics and agribusiness. Prof, welcome.
Thank you.
It's been a bit of a time.
Yes.
Okay, we'll come to all that. But Prof, thank you so much for joining us. We also have another very important person because he deals with the cash. You know, for the industry to grow, we need a lot of money. So my next guest is William Bradford Nate. Is head of agribusiness at Absa Bank Ghana Limited. William, welcome back. You were here with us last year. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
And then I also have another very important lady. She's been doing wonders in the industry, joined us last year, here with us again this year. She is Alberta Nana Echa Akosa. She's the founder of Agri House Foundation. Alberta, welcome back.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
And then we have a new lady joining us for this year. They are doing great things. We'll talk about that in a bit. But she's Dorothy Opoku. She's the General Manager, Administration for AMG. Dorothy, welcome.
Thank you.
And then we're being joined by Zoom by a very interesting and important lady as well. She is a Deputy Group CEO, Operations Initiatives and Business Management of Agri Impact Limited. Let's welcome Juliana Asante Date. Juliana, if you can hear me, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
I like the energy.
Happy to join you.
We're so happy to have you as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much and welcome. I think I'm going to go around the room for our viewers to understand the kind of things you do, and then quickly we'll start with the discussions. I want to start with Prof. I have met Prof. She's doing great. She's not just, you know, teaching and researching agriculture, but she's practicing it. Prof, if you could take us a bit with what your this year has been for you in terms of the agri space, what you've been up to. The last time I spoke with you, we were talking about prices, or you know, in our markets. Then the price of kenke and corn was skyrocketing, and you took us through the dynamics, which was very interesting. But tell me, what have you been up to?
Well, nothing much. I would say that because we had the coronavirus, I put a pause on my conference travels. So this year, I picked that up.
Okay.
And therefore, for the first quarter, I tried to join friends and colleagues in London, in Liberia, in Kenya, in South
good for you.
Korea. Yes, to learn more about what the developing countries like us and Liberia are doing in agriculture, to push towards the developed like Korea and the UK. You get me?
Yes.
And then East Africa is also a developing country, but if you look at their agriculture, you see that they are pushing to the frontier better than us, I would say, in terms of technology, in terms of even human capacity building, in terms of farmers themselves getting into the agribusiness mindset. I think that is what this year I have understood that we need to push our farmers a little bit more so that the business mindset will be what they will work with. Because we still work with the, subsistence.
Now we just feed in
This
the
is
home.
what our mothers did, this is what our fathers did mindset. And it is not helping us.
Right. So what were some of the key takeaways for you in terms of the technology?
Yes, the last place I was, last week I was in South Korea.
Okay.
And it's a small space because Ghana is twice or even more than twice as much in terms of land area. And they are 50 million, so they are more than us.
More than us, but less space.
Small space. But if you see their science and tech applied to agriculture, from bio, and then maintaining the organics, maintaining the areas that people want. You get me? So agriculture is no longer just organic or indigenous. We have moved, and there's a continuum up to where we have seeds that we call GMOs, or we have seeds that repel already some of the pests and diseases. So they are in the continuum, and they are doing it well because they understand the segments that they are serving. They are not just looking at one segment. They are looking at everybody who needs something to eat. So they are fully food secure. I would say that.
Wow.
Fully food secure.
We'll delve deeper into that when we move into the discussion proper, because I'm very interested in that, taking care of all the angles. But let me bring in William. He was with us 1 year ago. It's 1 year already. I remember last year, and Alberta, don't say anything. Last year, I promised to improve my agricultural prowess. Had discussions with them, but nothing. Shame on me. But this year, things will change. But I mean, the money side and all that, what's it been like so far? And what is APSA really doing in that space? I know you've been great with the agric industry and all that, but within the 1 year we've not met, what have you guys been up to?
Thank you very much. So a year has gone by. We sat here and we talked about the agri space, what is going on, how agribusinesses within value chains can access financing. Major to those, the things that they find as challenges when they are looking for financing is their books, putting their books in order, running a good account for business, for the banks to be able to assess them based on how they are performing on their account performance. We look at things that relates to collateral, whether they are building collateral. I mean, collateral is not it doesn't stop the show from running, but it also plays a role. The bank needs something to fall on, and on that score, how are businesses positioning themselves as they come to take financing? And these are some of the things that we've looked at, and working with businesses to be able to improve in these areas so that it will be easier to lend to them. We talked about the 10% that we're giving.
Is it still on, or now it's come to 5%?
It will come.
Because Prof just made a mention of the need for us to get people to be business-minded in agriculture, for us to move to the next level. So if banks are giving 35% for the, who is going to go?
Definitely. So we at APSA realized that it wasn't going to work at 35% or 40%. And so we got into partnership that allows us to give at 10%. And from last year when we started, we've given over 460 million Ghana cedis already.
I wish I was part of that.
You can join. just get into the mood and then come along and we can support you.
Okay. Alberta, I mean, you were, encouraging farming and not just doing the talk, but going ahead to distribute, seeds and all that. Great initiative for back home, farming and all that. Have we been good in terms of receiving that as a people, or they're still, within the 1 year we met?
Yeah, I think it's been, for us, it's been very practical. We've been more on the field, and it's exciting that we are just about to introduce a second phase of the One Household, One Garden. And it's been really accepted, and that is what we appreciate most. I think in general, the message has gone far, and everyone is trying to build some food security, household security, and build some resilience. But it's been great so far. On the front for us generally, I think we've been focused more this year on, again, enhancing the nutrition and ensuring there is household food security. But more importantly, we've been also focusing on getting our partners, our beneficiaries. We are working with rural women producers, we are working with agro-processors, we are really working with everyone within the value chain. And so for our farmers with disabilities, for our women farmers, for our youth beginner agribusinesses, what we are trying to get them to appreciate is how innovations can strengthen the market and how they could possibly look at research that would get them to be more involved with what is hot and what is trendy. Because now the market is about what really can sell. So, and then what really bring the value, and how can we come together, not really doing things independently, because the export market, for instance, is looking at volumes. And if you are doing it in bit by bit, how can we meet that? So that's what really we are really been focusing on, what is hot, what is trendy, and most importantly, how can we add some value to our raw materials. We tend to more export them. Exactly. And the last time we said that for us, we are working with the rural producers, with the women farmers, with the youth, with the beginner agribusiness. And one thing always stands out: they demonstrate beyond reasonable doubt that if they are empowered, they are resourced, they're able to bring their innovative and creativity to bear to add value to things. So that's what we are really focused on. It's exciting for us that even this in July, we are sending about 21 of the rural producers and agro-processors to Brazil, where they are going. So this is exactly, and so this is great exposure for them. And I mean, from beginning, I think we've had our boot camp that brought all the agri colleges together, which was exciting. We are also supporting on the ground. When you go to the regions, there is this big gap within our rural communities on assessing inputs. So right now, because of the boot camp, we're able to establish an input dealer shop in Adidome, which is really benefiting the rural farmers within that community. And this year, we are happy to partner with AMG to be also be doing something similar. So from Kwadaso to Damango to Fair River to Aswanzi, we are hoping that as the boot camp develops and evolves, we'll be able to establish input dealer shops to make it accessible.
Well, one of these days, we need to go with you around to see. But, tomatoes, pepper, and a couple of other, they've become the gold, now. I hope you are giving some of the seeds, because I need that to now farm in my backyard.
This year we are coming to your house. You want to give it to
I can't pay, 10 cedis for one tomato. I can't do that. It's too much. So now I need to plant,
How big?
You pay for
I also bought tomatoes. It was not 10 cedis.
Where should you buy?
How big? It depends on how big.
How big?
Very big.
Yeah, the big ones, Yeah, but it's become pretty expensive.
We'll come to your house to set it up for you.
Thank you.
It's 10 cedis
this weekend.
No, we are serious.
It's less than $1.
Yeah.
Because all the things she's talking about, we import them.
The tomatoes from Burkina Faso, the seeds and all that.
The seed that you are talking about will be distributed. Who is growing seed for our farmers?
But the thing is, Prof.
So everything is, what I'm saying is that everything is coming in. Your fertilizer is coming in. Your pesticides are coming in. Your machete is coming in. So everything is dollar rated.
Yeah.
So that tomatoes, if it's 1 kilo and it's 10 cedis, it's less than $1.
Yeah.
But there's this exciting value I want to add to what Prof is saying.
No, don't start there. Hold.
Don't start there.
No,
I was responding to her that it's not expensive.
For the one household, one garden.
Yeah.
Just to add that, for the one household, one garden, most of whatever we used, even the pesticide that we use, we train the women on how to use the neem tree.
To do
exactly.
So we can talk about that when we come to
I'm going to pound before I use.
So anyway. Prof, we'll come to the inputs and importation and all those challenges when we, I just want people to have a feel of our guests. Let me bring in Dorothy, AMG. She made mention of you guys, helping with all that. But who really are AMG and what are you?
So AMG is Agricultural Manufacturing Group Limited, otherwise known as AMG Fertilizers. We are importers and distributors of fertilizers within Ghana and then in our neighboring countries as well. We have specialty fertilizers because we have state-of-the-art blending units in our warehouse in Pung, where we blend fertilizers, special fertilizers for sale. Also, we have straight products, straight fertilizers like NPKs. That's NPK 25, 10, 10, 20, 10, 10, 15, 15 for all our farmers. We also have a capacity building for our farmers as well. So we go around and train the farmers on how to effectively use the fertilizers to enhance crop nutrition. We have agronomists who go around, check the type of soil, the type of crop, because some farmers are usually used to a particular type of fertilizer. They've heard that, oh, my colleague used maybe NPK 1515. So regardless of even the crop they are planting, they come and they say they want 1515. But that's not what AMG does. We care more about our farmers and also make sure that at the end of the day, they have more yield. So when you come to us and you tell us that, oh, I want NPK 1550, we ask you, what crop are you planting? Where is your farm located? We send in personnel to go, have a look at the farm, look at the soil, even how you are planting, the intervals and all, and educate you and tell you that, oh, you wanted 1515, but we can give you another alternative, which is better for you to also enhance your crop yield at the end of the day. And we also have a technology, a slow release fertilizers that we bring in, which releases the nutrients to the soil slowly, so that throughout the lifetime of the plant, the plant has nutrients available for it and is able to use it. And at the end of the day, you realize that the difference between our fertilizers when it's applied on the field and then the other fertilizers is very vast. You get a lot of green leaves, you get very big fruits as well. And then also we have demonstration farms. So if we are introducing a fertilizer in a community where the farmers are not familiar with it, we demonstrate maybe with a 1 acre farm, and then we apply our fertilizers for them to have a look, see, because farmers believe in seeing. You know, to them, seeing is believing. So we demonstrate for them to see. We have demonstration farms in the eastern region, in the northern.
So hands
region.
on deck, all know, practical
all hands on deck.
Okay.
Yes, to give those the farmers that experience. And also we have over 12 years. I mean, we have partnerships with Agri-House, where we support the women, the queen mothers that they bring in. We have partnership with Craig, where we give our fertilizers for them to also use and then give us reports. And no fertilizer goes out without we testing and making sure that it is of top quality and is going to fulfill the purpose for which it's being sold.
Sounds interesting. We'll come into that in detail. But let me go to Juliana. She's joining us from Tamale via Zoom. Juliana, you are a farmer. What have you been up to? What are you doing in Tamale? Is that where the your big crops are being grown?
Okay, so as greetings from Tamale. We are currently on the field. We are visiting our partners on a project that we just started in December, and that's the Happy program that we are doing with in partnership with the Mastercard Foundation and 8 other partners. That is from private sector, public sector, civil society organizations, and agribusiness development firms that are seeking to open up employment opportunities for 326,000 young people. So we are being very intentional about opening up spaces for young people in agri and to prove to them that there is a viable career path for them if they want to look at the agri and agribusiness sector. And it's happening in over 238 communities, 51 districts, and 13 regions. So it's all over Ghana, and we are saying that if you are between the ages of 15 and 35 and you are interested in agri and you are looking at 4 value chains, we are doing rice, soya, poultry and tomatoes from production to market. We are looking at the entire value chain. We are providing technical assistance. So we'll be working with most of the partners that are in the studio with you, research, input dealers, aggregators, farmer associations, women groups, young student associations, the financial institutions, and we are taking agri and agribusiness to the doorstep of both our rural farmers as well as young professionals who want to get involved in the agri space. And we are also working with persons with disabilities. This program is being supported by the MasterCard Foundation, and we are working with ministries, relevant agencies. So we are currently in Tamale visiting 2 of our partners that are operating in the north and northeast and the upper west regions to see what they've been doing on the field, because this is the production season. We are here to track the progress of work, to engage with the project participants, and to see how far things have gone on the field. We are looking at, we just yesterday came from Botanga irrigation scheme, where we've already done 4 months into the program, 600 hectares of rice, and have created opportunities for over 2,000 young farmers, 55% of whom are women. And so we are really being intentional to expose the agri opportunities and to invite participation of young people, especially because we need to change the age of our farming and agribusiness actors, and also change their mindset and to prove that agri really does make a difference, and you can have a successful career engaging in agribusiness activities.
Right.
So my company is Agri Impact, and we are the project coordinating unit for the consortium of 8 partners.
We love the initiative, but for some of us who are older than 35 who want to go to agriculture, why does it feel like it's too late for us? Because we're not even in your initiative.
Yes, this program is entirely focused on young people. It doesn't mean that if you are above the age, you cannot partner with us. We are also working with businesses, with entrepreneurs that may be over the age bracket, but who would provide employment opportunities for young people, because we really want to focus on opening up opportunities for young persons. I mean, the foundation is under its Young Africa Work program is seeking to provide employment opportunities for 3 million young people. And so our program is contributing about 10% of that, which is looking at 126,000, but it is focused on young people. But we do work with businesses, we do work with entrepreneurs that are above the age group as part of our outreach, and we will still provide support and guidance as long as you provide opportunities for our young people, because they are really our focus on this program.
Thank you, Juliana. Before we move into the discussion proper, let me acknowledge our partners and sponsors. We are being partnered this year for the City Business Festival by Absa Bank. Our sponsors include MTN Business, Gersel, AMG Fertilizer, Insano Limited, and Agri Impact Limited. So let's come to the crux of the matter. I'll start with you, Prof, because we all believe that we've gotten to a point in agriculture where we need to move it to the next level. That includes research, that includes understanding our patterns and all that. Professor of Economics, you guys are doing a lot, I understand. Where have we gotten to with this stage, and what is hindering our progress in terms of research and all that?
Okay, so with research, the leadership lies with government. So from day one, you'd realize that we instituted our Council for Scientific and Industrial Research alongside the universities.
Yes.
So the universities, for instance, my School of Agriculture, we have our soil science, our crop science, our animal science, extension, agri-economics, agribusiness, family and consumer sciences. But we have other science departments that would support the agricultural research. If you go to the CSIR, we have probably 13 of the research institutions that are supporting agriculture in animal science, in soil science, in crop science, name it. So if you take soils, which is the basis for the agriculture, a lot of work has been done. We have done work that will look at organic. We have done work that will look at integrated. So the soil fertility improvement, we can have organominerals. Then we can have the minerals. And like AMG is talking about, what soils are in Ghana. If you come to University of Ghana Soil Science, it's been mapped. Soil research has mapped. So we understand where the marginal soils are. We understand what we should do. For instance, my farm is in vertic soils area, in the Somenya area. You have to work it in a certain way to get the crops coming up. Otherwise, you are very limited in what crops you use. So So that we have done a lot.
And are people aware of this?
Pardon me?
This soil thing you're talking about?
Yes. And in recent times, you have very simple tools that you can use. You don't need to call my technician to come to the field. You can pick simple tools and do quick tests.
Okay.
You get me? Like when
to know what kind of soil you have.
We had, yes.
Okay.
And we have a lot of skilled people you can consult. But we're saying that, you see, in the value chain, the planning that our farmers should do, that should include the soil testing. We don't mind. Because we thought that our fathers grew
it's a particular way, and it's
then
fine.
it will do well.
Yeah.
and that is it. So with soils, we have done. With plants, seed. So we have seed science.
Yeah.
CSIR is doing, the universities are doing. And even the public universities alone, we have about 13 with schools of agriculture, with labs, professors, doctors, technicians doing research, graduate students doing research in so many different things.
I see.
So some are shelved, some are taken. You get me? It's research. So those shelved, you can go back, open it, see what we do. And we collaborate with the global.
Okay.
I'm telling you, I'm coming from Korea.
Korea, yeah.
So we collaborate. So what happens in the developed quickly comes to us because we are partnering. In actual fact, most of the research is sponsored by the developed countries. So it gets here quickly, and we are on it. Because the education system is such that a lot of it is from, you get me, a lot of syllabus, we started from them.
Yeah.
Then we come to environmental, because let's say 40 years ago, when I started learning agriculture, the climate change issue had come already. So environmental, the global environmental change issue, there's a lot of investigation that has gone into it. Then talk the soft issues like mine, the agribusiness issues in the value chain, economic issues, market issues, finance issues. I teach rural finance.
Yeah.
I teach rural economy. You get me? So the research is in terms of finding out what we need to do better based on the current situation or even history.
Yeah.
Because that's how we do our research.
Yeah.
You go back, you find out today, and then you can forecast and then try.
Future, yeah.
So a lot of research is here. What is limiting, it's when I saw what you see in developed countries is that you don't do one and pack. You do, it's working. You now start finding out what is wrong. That's what Korea is doing. They finished, it's working. But they are finding out what is wrong so that the next stage, they can continue to add value.
Yeah.
We are not supported strongly that way by our state in terms of state institutions. I can talk for myself. They give us a little money to do research. And so if you don't get the funding from
outside,
the
you're
west
stuck.
or the north, as we call it,
Yeah.
then you are limited. So that is what I can say, that our researchers are trying, because a lot of us trained outside. A lot of professors would have gone outside to train, are exposed to good facility. Go to Korea and see good research facilities. Good. You will love to wear that coat. You will love to wear those boots. You will love to wear those, protective clothing and go and do good research. We are lacking that. The facilities need improvement.
But we have the likes of APSA and co that, are getting involved.
Small money. We're talking about billions.
The funding. I mean,
they can give
private
small
sector
money.
is not showing interest.
A little, small monies.
But
We're
also
talking about billions.
you need
Because
billions
the machinery,
to.
yes. What we are using now at microscope, it's like 20 years ago.
It's like lost in translation.
What they are using now, we are not there. But if we have little bit more, then we can chase them. But now it's still 20 years gap.
Now, within the last 5 years, I mean, with the little you have and the old equipment is what it is. What are some, great breakthroughs you've made in the areas of research? You feel that with a little push, you can change, the agri scene.
Okay, so the great ones are with the soils. Then even seed. If you take our WACI, we have a West Africa Crop Improvement Program center that is doing new seed, like local content. I wouldn't say that it is new, because when you look at the hybrids, you get me, they are high yielding. Then they are looking at our own seeds, our grandfather seeds, and finding out, for instance, frafra potatoes, how can we improve it? And so we are improving a lot of our own indigenous seeds. But one of my current researches is indigenous vegetables. And our researchers or our enumerators have gone all over the country finding out what is still there and how to, they call it valorize it, improve it, so that we can get more and then continue to feed. Because nutrition as a food security issue, I think in the last 5 years, is what we are focusing on. So we are not too much fixated on bulk. We also want to make sure that what we are doing, we are bringing out, is healthy, is cultural. You get me? So we are not taking those things out. But we are also very much interested in finding out. So SARI, for instance, is finding out if it is genetically modified organism, and this is to manage our pests. What is this? Unfortunately, there are a group of people who don't want to learn. They hear, they read, they don't do any experimentation with the scientists, and then they take a position. But that is also one of the greatest things I would say our scientists are doing in the north, in Savannah Agricultural Research Institute, to find out, you get, because we are eating them through pizza. I like shawarma. I eat pizza. You get me?
Prof, so real.
Last week was my birthday. So every day
Where was your birthday?
Last week,
Oh,
4th.
Belated.
So day 1 is kokonte, my own. Is fufu, my own. Then day 3 is shawarma. Day 4 is pizza. You get me? Ice cream. You know, these things are there already. All the things we use as oils for our, is there. So we should know it in Ghana to see what is good in it. We've lived abroad 30 years ago, 20 years ago. We ate them. We are now getting to 60. You get me? So we need to find out, and that is what our Noguchis are finding out, our the other scientists are finding out. The pharmacologists are finding out. When I went to Korea again, agricultural biotech is not only biologists and agriculturists, it's pharmacists. They are there. The way they do their science as multidisciplinary, taking our food and opening it up so that everybody is there. Our archaeologists are now doing something with our food. And I like it. If you come to Legon, that is the new thing we are also doing. Looking at our food and how far we have come. So for research, I would say that even with our limitation, we've done a lot with biological, chemical, mechanical, institutional, and the soft things that go with it.
But how to do the mechanization? Let me introduce our phone lines for people to start sending in their messages as we go along. We'll read them and then seek to get answers from some of the questions you send. Our number is 020-444-7033. That's 020-444-7033. Okay, so we'll continue with the issue of inputs, which appears to be an issue. Earlier, Prof was saying that some of the things that we are even using are being imported. So really, there's nothing coming here to open up the, industry and all that. I'm coming to the two of you, and then Juliana, you can also chip in on where we are with the issue of our inputs and what we can do to improve being people who are in the business.
Okay. All right, thank you, Vivian. I think, input is broad. We are looking at seeds. We are looking at irrigation. We are looking at the fertilizers and some bit of, chemicals and all that. You see, and for us at Agri-House and for me personally, what I've experienced on the ground is some of the capabilities are on the ground. How do we harness them to benefit us? You see, so it's great when we bring what is foreign and all, and which is what is happening now, which is encouraging. At least that exposure is great. But we're looking at in the next 20 years, where would our youth be? And when I talk about say tech, for example, Jeffrey is doing so well with this appropriate smallholder machinery that he's developing. If you look at the history of Brazil, Brazil was just like us. But where are they now? They've been able to empower their smallholders through this simple machinery. I think as a country, we are getting there. For our project like the One Household, One Garden, what we did was very simple. Everything that they were doing, I mean, sometimes it's a bit hard because everything that they are doing is so manual. So we taught them how to prepare their own pesticides. If you look at what I think Prof will know, Charity, she was the 2023 National Best Farmer. You should visit and see what she's doing.
So she's using she is developing natural pesticides on a large scale or just some small?
We are looking at food security. One of the surest way we can ensure is even empowering our own households. And it goes beyond vegetables. When we're even growing up, we had our chickens who were all over. Now you don't see them anymore. So agric is also very broad. Maybe we are looking at more of the crops, but the livestock is also very critical. But Charity is a very good example. She's a 2023 National Best Farmer. And if you look at the seeds that she has developed, we're working in Northeast, I think 2 years ago, and then we bought these onion seeds. And and that's the issue when the soil testing comes in. Everything that we brought didn't work. They didn't survive. The rural people themselves were able to develop their own onion seeds, which worked and thrived for them. So I think the issue with inputs is all over. But key is for us to know, like, even when it comes to appropriate technology or input and everything, we have 16 regions. What does well in each region? If you go to some parts of Northeast, it's only possibly green pepper that does well. So then what kind of input, what kind of seeds? So
you're saying that beyond what Prof spoke about on the soiling, where every area in Ghana, they know what soil is there and what will survive, we need to now put out the type of things that everybody knows.
Can do well in the, like.
So Accra, you know that, let's say, mangoes do well.
Exactly. And I think then we'll be on a road to, scaling up our agriculture, our production. So it's broad. Look at the livestock sector, for instance. When you look at the cattle, we are producing cattle more for beef than for the milk.
Yeah, and they're willing.
And for the milk. Meanwhile, and so we give the milk to the Fulanis as their payments. Meanwhile, there are lots we can get for it, but we even lack inputs within that sector. We are working with some farmers in Sagnerigu. They are doing so well. We've even started exporting some of their produce, sesame seeds, which is one of the #1 superfoods in the world. And then baobab and dawadawa. They are getting markets there, but they are doing all this manually. So the issue with input and accessibility.
But you see, every time we talk about agriculture in terms of the inputs, we talk about the same thing. We're still doing manual. We need what is hindering our progress?
I think that, you see, it gets to a stage that what is brought in stays at the top. Because at the grassroots where some of us go, some of the things that Prof is talking about, they've not even...
Nobody knows about
them. You see, so that is...
I want to also add something, like with the inputs you are talking about. As I said earlier, we as a fertilizer company don't just give any fertilizer out there. The input is not just the seeds. Of course, the type of fertilizer you apply to the soil.
That's very important.
It's very important because most of our soils are acidic. So we have to introduce fertilizers that will reduce the acidity and neutralize it, and that's where we come in. And we make sure that when we go out, as I said, we have demonstration farms. We teach the farmers, and we bring in our slow release fertilizers. So in as much as you are applying maybe good seed, if you don't apply a good fertilizer, you will not still get the yield. And most are used to, as she said, access to machinery. It's most of the farmers are not mechanized. Actually, it's the corporate farms that do a lot of mechanization. So the farmers, and then some farmers too are very hard-headed, like they don't want change. So even if you are introducing something to them, they are like, we are used to this. Even with the fertilizers, they are not supposed to be tasting. But when you give them the fertilizer and you give it, and they want to check if it's sharp, they put it on their tongue, which is not a healthy option
something
for them.
they've done over the years.
Yes.
So they believe if you are able, you are putting it in the soil and the thing to eat, then they should be able to.
Yes.
So just
but
so
I wanted to say that in as much as you are applying, like we introduce to them a good fertilizer, we even go to the extent of recommending insecticides and pesticides and weedicides for them, because sometimes they've still applied a very good fertilizer, but you visit the farm and you realize that their leaves are being eaten because they are not applying the right pesticides or weedicides. And then you check, sometimes when our agronomists go, they even check the content of the pesticide that they are using or the weedicide that they are using, because sometimes they will apply and the weed will still not die.
The measurements
are not right and all that. So we as an agri company selling fertilizers to them are doing our best. But maybe that's where Alberta comes in to teach them more on how to, you know, apply their weedicides and pesticides.
And then more important, how does it even get to the grassroots? You see, our government even has a policy to ensure that within a certain radius, we have input dealer shops. So one is about even access, and two is about how you appropriately apply it. Are you over-applying? Are you under-applying? That will get you the kind of results that you need. So I think that really a lot is going on at the policy level. And to a large extent, it has gotten to the ground. But I think the smallholder farmers are those that are feeding us. When it comes to our meat, it's the smallholder farmers. When it comes to our crops or whatever, it's most of our commercial farmers are now exporting. So it's very important we pay particular attention to the smallholder farmers and see how possibly we could, because our agric is really modeled and fashioned around how Brazil does it, how we could also possibly take them through that kind of journey.
Maybe the banks also have to come in, because when it comes to assessing of finance for these farmers,
they said risk, so they won't give them.
They are not ready to take the risk.
I don't think that is the case, and we've talked about this over the years.
I mean, if ABSA is doing it, it's not good enough. We need more of the banks to do that. I think that's their concern.
No, the banks are beginning to do it. The banks are in a position to do it. The challenge has always been that the bank didn't understand all of these. And so once you go into it and you get bitten, you retreat. And that is what. But over the years, we have also, as banks, begun to learn. So now the trainings that GSL has, all the banks have been putting their candidates forward for training. Banks are beginning to set up agribusiness decks. They are beginning to reach out. But for us as ABSA, what we are doing is to empower Africa's tomorrow together, one story at a time. And we are looking at I'm sure with time you'll be hearing the stories that one after the other, we are beginning to see people expand their business because of the support that came to them through the 10% that you are giving. The 10% has given businesses, you know, some breathing space, whether they are input dealers, whether they are into production, whether they are aggregators, whether they are processing. We are beginning to see that along the chain, everyone is who benefits is beginning to grow. There's a farmer I visited recently who, you know, has been with us for a long time. He was looking for a facility. We tried whatever we can, but the rates were too high, and so he couldn't take. What happened was that eventually he was going to cut his business to the barest minimum. And he has a good off-taker, a good company that is buying regular, but he couldn't cope with the price increases and all of that. We went around it, we were able to give him the 10%. And now we got him a tractor. He's been able to expand his own business. But what he's also doing is to work with smallholders within his catchment, where he's providing the tractor services to them. We have also gone into partnership with input dealers who supply to agribusinesses at the lower level, whether it's equipment, whether it's input, you know. So these partnerships are really important. But the point is that, like Prof said, we need to move up the scale. Yeah. We need to include technology. We need to include more modern ways of doing things so that we can see the growth. We can't always depend on the smallholders. The smallholders that we are looking at, and like AgriHouse is doing, let's be able to move them one notch above what they are doing. If they were doing a small holding and they were selling among themselves, now he's taking them outside. They are beginning to get market outside. What can we do to support? And that is where we come in. But there should be a concerted effort amongst all of us working together. If not, I can give her a facility, I can give some of the farmers, small, but it doesn't work. Let's bring in, and like she's saying, let's bring in support from government, from NGOs, and like our sister mentioned earlier, Juliana mentioned, we have gone into a partnership with MasterCard Foundation, and that allows us to be able to lend at this 10%. We'll reach a number. We are supposed to reach 5,000 SMEs. We are supposed to train them, which we have done. We've done the training, more than 5,000. We have been lending. But the lending, the scale that we want to reach is not
where you are going to, and you need to improve it.
And we need a little more support.
Yeah. Let me bring in Juliana. Yeah, Juliana, I was just going to bring you in because you are into that and all that. What can we do better?
Hello.
Yeah, Juliana, please
Can you repeat the question? The line was...
Yeah, yes. I'm saying the issue about improving inputs, what can we do to, make it better?
And there are many facets to that challenge. So there are issues surrounding access. There's still a lot to do to get the right input at the right time to the farmer. And yesterday, from my interactions with the project participants, that was one of the things that they found very useful about the Happy program, that it's not that they don't know that they need input. But sometimes even when you are ready and you have the funds in your hands, you cannot find it. And by the time it gets to you, because most of our production is also rain-fed, you have issues of the right timing. So just having the input at the right time is still a big challenge for most of our farmers, especially as you go down into the rural community. So by going down to the last community that is engaged in production, our participants now have access through our partnership with the input dealers to make sure that by the time they need the seed, they need the improved seed, they need the crop protection, they need the fertilizer, it is there and it is at their farm gate to be able to pick up and use it when it will make a difference. There are still issues surrounding safe handling and safe usage. And so yes, training, we can't have enough training and capacity development on that field. And even how to dispose of your agrochemicals and the containers and all that, so that it is safe for the farmer and also for the environment, is something that we still need to be working on. When you're talking about the youth, even access to land is a big problem for them. And so under the program, by having partners who have access to irrigated fields, by having partners who have partnered with the traditional authorities to release land, so that especially when you come to the north, the young women don't readily have access to lands. So it's through this partnership that we are opening up the space for them to be able to now have access to plots that they can call their own, where they can receive technology in terms of seed, in terms of agro inputs, fertilizers, and apply them the right way. Even how you plant, let's say rice, when you're doing your transplanting, that matters as opposed to broadcasting. So when I'm talking about inputs, there are many facets to it that you need to look at it, and also technology. So we are partnering with KNUST under their e-learning center to look at how we can use digital solutions to enhance the delivery of agro inputs and fertigation to plants. We are looking at how you do better pest and disease monitoring using drone technology, using drones for spraying. So to improve productivity, you will need to also include technology and digital solutions in the delivery of some of these interventions. So there's a whole plethora of activities that have to go on for us to really begin to change the narrative. You will not believe that from 1 acre of 1 hectare of rice field, if the farmer does not use improved seeds and the right agro inputs, they can get like 2 tons from doing that. But with the same plot, the same level of effort, by adding on things like land preparation, access to mechanization services, the right inputs, the seed, fertilizer, they can more than double. They can go to 5, 6, 7 tons, and they will move from making maybe 10,000 cedis to about 25,000. So it's really important that we stress the use of the right input at the right time. And also it's good that like companies like AMG and the other Global Fet and so on have come in country, and they are now formulating to suit our soils. So you need to understand your soil nutritional profile before you know what to add on. And what companies like Agri Impact, New Age, CRS, and all the other partners that we are working with under the Happy program, we are trying to do is to make sure that these technologies have been moved from the research from the companies, and we've moved it to the farmer. Yesterday we went and visited a demonstration field where we are trying out different rice varieties, different protocols, and we are doing it right there next to the farmers field. They get to learn, they get to experience, and then the technology adoption is better. So I mean, important it, yes, it makes it expensive, and we need to build more local capacity to be able to do so. But even now, with what is in the system, getting them to use it at the right time, understanding where to apply it, how to apply it, and making sure that you are improving productivity is key. We are doing poultry as well. Access to good quality DOCs. We import. We try to produce some in country, getting fertilized eggs. So there are a whole host of issues that you have to work around. Medicines, vaccines, even the structures, the production systems to follow. So when we talk about inputs, there's just so much you have to do, and the Happy program, together with all its partners, are trying to put in place systems and processes to ensure that, especially our young people who are maybe new to this or may not have the resources, are able to do it and do it the right way to enhance productivity.
So a lot
the less
around,
we use, the better we become at also making sure that our interventions are environmentally friendly and we are more productive.
Sure. A lot around inputs. We have to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at some other issues. For example, why, we seem to know what our problems are. We seem to know our challenges. But why are we finding it difficult to scale up? Why are we finding it difficult to even feed ourselves as a country, let alone to export? We'll look at all that when we come back. This is the Agribusiness Forum, where our topic is exploring agribusiness growth and opportunities as well. This is the City Business Festival. Remember that we are doing this because we are good to have a partner like Absa Bank. We're having sponsors like MTN Business, Gesell, AMG Fertilizer, Nisano Limited, Agri Impact Limited, but we are being powered by City FM as well as ChannelOne TV. When we come back, we'll look at some other issues around the agriculture industry. Stay with us. You're welcome back to our discussion on agriculture. We're looking at agribusiness, week 2 for the City Business Festival. I have a very strong group of women and a man here taking us through all what we need to know in this sector. So, gentlemen and lady, we'll move to the next level of increasing production, because from what we've spoken from all of you, whether it's inputs, whether it's research, whether it's financing, whether it's hands-on, those who are really there, we know our issues, we know our challenges, but how do we move it to the next level and become like the other economies who are doing so well? They are feeding us, Prof, let me start with you, and this question is going around the table. So I'll start with you, Prof. You are into farming.
Yes.
You are into corn. What are you into?
So I have my own mango farm, but I sell brown rice and coconut.
Are we importing mango now?
From Burkina Faso, yes, because it comes in, goes out. you know, we give them something, they give us something. It's
Because
like
we
cross-border trade.
We tried
So
to
there's
find
no
out which
problem.
markets the mango imports are going to, but we were finding it difficult.
Where we take.
I
in
mean,
the
where
west-
where we are bringing it in and how
Oh,
where
the
it's
last
ending.
time I saw that it's coming from Burkina Faso.
Yes.
With the
It can
borders
even
for
come
exports.
from Mali. It doesn't matter because
Okay.
somebody is doing something well there.
Okay.
And it's targeting
Okay.
some hotels here.
All
or
right,
some
in that
supermarkets
sense.
here.
Okay.
Do you get
Or
me?
I get
processes.
you from that.
Or
angle.
processors here.
Yeah.
So Blue Skies is bringing in,
they bring
and
from
a number of processors are
Okay.
bringing
So
in.
how do we improve our production
Yes,
from where
so-
you sit?
So we have said that some of our farming, the pest and disease management is a problem, like mango. And we've been taught to do area-wide management. And that means you have to cooperate. We lose that first step, cooperation.
Yeah, cooperation. Okay.
So we are not cooperating, and therefore my mango, as much as I like to sanitize, my neighbors are not. So mine, forget it.
Certis.
I have tested it since 2020. It used to be theory to me. I have tested it myself. And I know if we don't cooperate, we are not going to get the good, nice ones to feed us and then to export. Some are doing well. So there are mango exporters, but if you look at the trends, we keep syncline
Wavering,
and
not really, yeah.
anticline. Yes, we go up, we come down, we go up, we come down. Mango, papaya, pineapples make those fruits that we used to call them, it's still called non-traditional agricultural exports. Even yams.
Yeah.
Ghana is the leading exporter of yams in the world. But what do? We don't do yams for export. We do yams anyhow, and then we sort and package. We can do better. Do you get me? So as for getting what to do to produce, I think that, as we have said, there's enough information. There is the extension people at every district level. They may not be a lot. They may not be visiting frequently, but because of what we call the digitalization, now farmers are holding and they can converse.
Phones.
Even to the last mile.
Okay.
It used to be that 20 years ago, yes, we didn't have one phone, one household. But today we have one phone, one household.
One
Yes,
person.
I have done it.
Yeah.
These are the researches I do. I like to find things out for myself. You get me? One phone, one household. So you can get or an extension officer to speak
To
with.
help you. Okay.
He may not be coming there all the time.
Okay.
So why are we still in informality?
Yeah.
You see, our farmers, even when they cooperate, they don't want to register, pay dues, so that somebody is visiting them and following up, so that they are legitimizing.
And the bank will
And
do
very
it to them.
soon, they themselves will be registering
Is it a
as
cultural
companies. I think so. I think so. Because I've seen that in communities, sometimes some households don't have loggerheads. You have this word,
Yeah.
ayaka.
So they cannot cooperate.
So
then and
we
move to
have
them.
that. Even when you have community level storage facility, some say I will not store there because this
I'm fighting
household
with
is
this
storing there. TechnoServe has done that. We have tracked that. So if we don't legitimize these 3 million people you want to train all over the place to become farmers on their own, they are not registered. They are informal, so touch and go. After the experiment Julie is talking about, it's been done. I've done this work for 30 years. We've done this a long time. Different people have supported. It's not only MasterCard.
Yeah.
It's MasterCard's turn now.
Yeah.
you get me?
You will see.
My fear
Yeah.
is that after MasterCard, the story will go back
To square one.
to one.
Okay. So Prof is saying.
Because my students are interested.
Yeah.
They are young, they are in school, we are encouraging them. Actually, I'm going to even go to my third one with Cosmos Innovation Center.
Okay.
I've done it with Genesis International. I've done it with a number. My public health school, we are doing one. I'm doing one with my law school. I'm doing another one with my business school. So MasterCard is supporting.
Yeah.
My fear is that it's touch and go. Capacity building, a little bit. I've given 5 acres for any of my students who wants to do business with farming. They are excited. I don't know if they will continue.
They'll stay there too.
Did you get me?
Legitimize it.
Legitimize.
Yeah.
Let too many people go off.
Yeah.
Expand the fields. Labor-saving devices. So I don't even support now girls in farming because they go there and you want them to use muscle. We are XX. Girls are XX. Females, our chromosome is XX. It's not XY. These people have XY, they have chromosomes, they have muscle.
But you
they
are
can use
using
mattock.
technology and modern equipment.
not
You
there.
don't need that. So
It's
you're
not
saying
there.
because
what
it's not
Julie
there.
is talking about, there's
Yeah.
just a few places
I
that
get you.
they are using this
Yeah,
drones and all that. I've studied all that.
Yeah.
We've experimented all that. I've written papers on all that. That's why I'm a
But
professor.
that's an interesting.
You get me? If you are a professor, it means you've written a lot of papers. A lot of technical
So the dynamics
reports.
needs to change for the legitimacy.
Yes, I don't want a lot of girls to be in this agriculture. A few that are there should be capacitated to do it well. Do you get me?
Yes.
It doesn't work that way. That everybody, 3 million.
Okay.
We are 30 million. And we want 3 million of our young people to be doing agriculture. And when you go, it is whole catalyzed mattock.
Okay.
Go to hell.
Okay.
It's not good enough.
All right.
My daughter will not do it.
Prof has spoken about cooperation and legitimizing, you know.
Yes,
A minute
cooperating
each
and
for all of us
legitimizing.
on
Very
this
important.
issue about
So people can come
boosting
back. Actually, let me end
agri-production.
it. The reason why we legitimize so that people can be tracked, monitoring, evaluation. You get me?
Yeah, I get you.
Because if we get the sanitized quality product, it will reach where it has to reach. My table and somebody's table in
Elsewhere.
Toronto.
All
I'm
right.
telling you.
A minute to answer the issue of boosting production.
Well, I mean, like we said, it's all been, a lot of it has been smallholders, and we can't take them out. So what do we do to get them to improve their productivity? It has to be technology. And this technology, for us as a bank, we provide financing for technology, we provide financing for input and all of that.
Yeah.
What we are doing is that because of our, branches and locations and everything, that doesn't reach to the final mile, or to the last mile. We are working in partnership with others. So we work with rural banks, we are working with MFIs, we are working with input dealers, we are working with all the actors to be able to reach to these smallholders. So we would lend to a rural bank at 10%. They would also work with, or they would then on lend to these businesses within their communities, because they have a closer relationship with them, or they have the proximity. They are able to monitor, like Prof is saying, and they work with them over the years. For our project that we are working on, there's a key part, which is the monitoring and evaluation, just to make sure that the money that is going there is reaching to those agribusinesses, those smallholder farmers, so that the productivity can go on. The issues that she has raised are true, and they live with us. The issue about pests and diseases, the issues about availability of land, issues about post-harvest, they are real, and we need to find solutions to them.
Okay.
If we don't find solutions, we will produce, one time you produce, there's a lot of harvest, there's a market waiting to be served, but because of the distance and the issues in terms of transportation, the market is ready, the produce is ready, but nobody to play that intermediary role. And we need to make sure that the chain is working.
Okay.
There should be someone within the chain that is even making sure that these trainings that are going on will be implemented or will be moved on.
It's sustainable
and it's sustainable.
Okay. 1 minute. You have a lot of questions from viewers that you need to answer.
Okay. So
you have a minute.
Yes, Vivian, 2 minutes. I think I'll look at it holistically, okay? You see, before we went off, I said agric is being boxed. Agribusiness is being boxed, okay? We have production, but production in its holistic form and we talk about the youth because we can't take them out. They are the next. They are the now.
Yeah.
They are the most innovative in everything. We are looking at from the farm to the market. And we believe that if you are looking at the growth of agribusiness, then it's a holistic, yes, it's a holistic approach. So we shouldn't, for me, with this very one, I don't think we shouldn't narrow it to only maybe crops and the livestock, but what other roles? We are looking at people who can also play a role even in processing, which is what is happening now, which is where we see most of our women involved in. We can look, and I always talk about it, I've been to other countries where people are focused only on agribusiness production when it comes to documentaries and all that. You see, these are areas, innovative areas that the youth and us can also pick. So that in contributing to development, in contributing to sustainability, we know that we've created some niche within the value chain that we can all play a role in. Coming to our system, look at, and I'm using Tulaku as an example. Tulaku presently is the largest we have in West Africa, the largest cattle farm, cattle market, which can serve as a strong agri-tourism center for our nation in Ashaiman. But look at the infrastructure and everything. It's been left there. The university also has a
university farm.
Yeah, university farm, and then
Ahmadiyya. Eggs and all that.
Yes, they have the Ahmadiyya farm, but they even have some cattle. But even they are not able to produce more milk within the.
Yeah.
So this thing is really like a broad thing. But you know, talking about all these things and sustainability, I think we must applaud AgriHouse Foundation, because one of the key things which you know that has been able to sustain farmers in terms of market linkage and reducing post-harvest losses is the pre-harvest, which was handed over to us. We are talking about what other projects, and for this I really also agree with Prof. Some of the projects come and then they exit, and you don't even know exactly. But look at how we've been able to sustain pre-harvest for the last 14 years by ourselves with support from private institutions and also our boot camp. Okay. You see, our boot camp, we have a lot of students.
Your minute
yes, a lot of students from Legon, a lot of students from Legon also coming through. And because it's through this same boot camp that we've been able to establish an input dealer business for a 22-year-old girl in Adidome. And we are doing some with. So I think in our own way we are contributing, but it's key to look at how we can sustain it. Okay. And I think sustainability now has to trickle down. It shouldn't be at the policy level.
It's okay.
What I would say,
Dorothy, and then Juliana, you come in with how we can move to the next level. Please, 1 minute each.
Okay. So what I would say about improving production is after you get the right seeds, you get the right fertilizer, you get the right agrochemicals. You also need, as our sister on Zoom said about the right climate. You also need machinery, which is very capital intensive, because Prof said we are excess, we are not XY.
For me, I'm not. So for me, I'm XY.
Then that means that if a lot of if you have a lot of
you can't.
If you have a lot of machinery, if you have a lot of machinery in the system, that means that a lot of women will be attracted into going into farming, because then the labor, as in using your own energy, will be less. Aside that, there is also storage, because farmers produce a lot, and sometimes they don't even have anywhere to store the produce that they have, harvested. We have warehouses across the country which sometimes even keep some of this produce for these farmers. So in improving it, we have to make machinery available and also a lot of storage, which would also be attractive for the youth. For the young people.
Because they like the soft life. Juliana, please, let's have your answer to this question.
Yes, okay. So I think what I want to stress is the fact that we need to strengthen ecosystem linkages, because yes, I agree with Prof that if you just introduce people to farming and you leave them as individual entities, you don't get the advantage of cooperating and also realizing the benefits of economies of scale. So under Happy, we are doing ecosystem linkages. We are attaching these young people who want to learn, who want to acquire the skill, to existing businesses. We are facilitating business linkages. They are in growers. They would gain skill. They can then become outgrowers that will still produce and feed into the market of the private sector partners that we have on the program. So you are not there being taught how to grow rice and you are responsible for doing 1 acre and that's it. We are doing economic enclaves. So they would come together. It is consolidated. You have economies of scale from just having so much of it in one place. If you are linking to markets, it's easy to say that, come, I have 400 hectares, 1,000 hectares, and I can assure you of this quantity. All those things are going to be very critical if we want to transform agriculture and transform the agribusiness space. We need to look at market facilitation, market linkages, access to technology, the use of technology, yes, formalization of these enterprises as they come along, but there's a lot that needs to go into that. So you bring the person, you train them, you need to help them get BDS, register, do the right things, set up systems, have some form, or sometimes you even need to facilitate partnerships among different youth groups so that they can work together towards a common goal. So we are working with the private sector closely. This is not being done in isolation. And I think that it's a noble goal to say that we want or the MasterCard Foundation wants to offer employment opportunities for 3 million young people across the nation. The unemployment rates are huge, and we really all need to work towards improving that. We are using agribusiness, we are taking 4 value chains, and we want to do this in an ecosystem where they'll have access to technology, to training, to markets, to finance, and systems, so that as we go away from the programs, we know that we would have put in place the systems and connections that would ensure their sustainability. We've done it on other programs where partnerships that we facilitated, even 3-4 years after the program, these outgrowers are still supplying our private sector partners. So we have proved under SIPMA that it worked, and we will be able to replicate it and indeed expand the scope and reach and make sure that we have opened up opportunities for our young people. And it's not just production. There's so much. There's services, there's processing, there's aggregation, there's even delivering digital solutions to farmers to improve their productivity are all things that we are hoping to do under the Happy program. So there's so much to be done. And I think that we can all bring our efforts to bear and really make a difference and also make investments. We cannot just talk about these things. We need investments, and agribusiness is big monies. It requires investment, intentional investments to make a difference. And some of these things we need to have in place. Otherwise, they would always come back to the same challenges. It's the commitment to see investments through and to do them right, and the approaches that are adopted that really will make a difference.
Yeah, I agree. We need investments, and I think that's one of the main things lacking here. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll take some questions from our viewers. We'll be right back. So welcome back. This is the Agribusiness Forum. We're looking at our challenges, opportunities, solutions in this industry. I have 5 people who are helping me with today's discussion, but I want to take the many questions you've sent in and at least take a few so we can also answer some of the questions you sent to us. Let me take this one. It says, with regards to boosting our agri agenda, how have various government interventions like planting for food and jobs, fertilizer subsidies changed the narrative, or has it been a failure? This person wants, actually, Prof, your take on this.
Okay, so planting for food and jobs is just a name that this government used for seed subsidy, for fertilizer subsidy. So there was no subsidy for irrigation. There was no subsidy for, what do you call it, land preparation, labor management and all that. It's these 2 big ones, plus the free extension. I've always had free extension. But if you take some of our crops, we're looking at trends, you would see that in the last decade, we have actually increased our yields of rice, of maize, very significant, of sorghum. Millet is not that significant. So, even cowpea, cassava. So you see that we have improved the yields, that is output per acre. Whether small scale farmers or large-scale farmers are driving it. I have not done that disaggregation. But what we know, as Julie said, is that even with the smallholders they are talking about, when they do the right things at the right time, they've been able to get the increased yields. So that's one we know. That was one of the objectives, to increase the use of the fertilizer, whether they are organic or inorganic. Is another thing. The government supported initially organic, and then later on opened up for compost, and then initially it was inorganic more, or the conventional, then opened up for the organics in terms of compost. I know that. Then the seed, it was both the OPVs and then the hybrid. Yes. They wanted to push the hybrid a little bit further. So if you look at the subsidy, you see that the hybrid is well subsidized. These are the two things. And the messages were going because Canada was also supporting at the district level. What was a little bit of a problem, I would say, when we did some tracking, was that, for instance, when you have to bring in the seed, Southern we have 2 rains, and therefore people would like to capture both. Sometimes there's delay, so it affects or it benefits more of the north than the south. Or the south, it will benefit the second, those who are in areas that allows them to do a second cropping, for instance. Or if they are doing rice, they can do 2 or 3. In terms of livestock, they were pushing for poultry, but they were not supporting feed. They were not supporting day-old chicks. They were giving cockerels and, some things.
But how do we miss these key things in our planning?
It's because of the budget.
Okay.
So if you look at the Investing for Food and Jobs, which is the budget we take to Parliament, it's 4 areas. So there's management, there's crops, there's livestock, and then sustainable land and management of the environment. And the money is not big. They don't give us billions. That's what agriculture needs. We need billions.
But we don't have
government
billions,
is not very good. Very good. So that is the limiting area. And the little that is released, sometimes when you track, not everything gets there. You get me? So we as administrators, professionals who are handling, we should stop the corruption in between. Do you get me?
Yeah.
If you stop
so
the
that the little we can make the best
leakages, we should stop the leakages so that we can get a little bit more.
Okay.
I believe that is also an area in administration we need to have a hold on when it comes to government funding. Government does not have a lot, but the little that is released, we have some leakages.
Okay.
And so there are delays, and then that leakage does not allow us to get to the frontier. One village, one dam. They did dams, but engineering was not perfect. And that is our worry, because we have people who know, and those who were doing it, they knew it was deficient. It's not that they didn't know.
So what's the point?
They know it won't yield all year round. The money is little. Tell our buying that this money will not give you the result. But because a wants something, keep quiet, do
something.
Do something.
And then nothing comes out of it.
And then it yields to December and nothing.
Wow.
The yield is low. So you can see that we did a lot with our flagship projects. But I'm saying that the budget supporting it, the releases, and then plugging those loopholes.
It's a problem.
Very, very important.
Let me bring in Juliana. A question for you. Access to inputs has been a significant challenge, hindering the quest for farmers to maximize their production. What can be done to improve the access?
He's on mute.
She's on mute.
Yeah.
I think we muted Juliana if we can, so she takes the question again.
Sorry. Okay, so can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Great. Okay, so I'm saying that fortunately for us under the Happy program, we actually have the capacity with the support from the foundation to be able to actually provide starter pack support. So every youth that is onboarded on this program would have access to some starter pack support, be it improved seeds, agrochemicals, crop protection, fertilizers, or DOCs, feed. Feed is an important component of the poultry. And so on this program, we are linking with feed mills, with the private sector, to ensure that the youth that are onboarded would have access to feed. The program is not out to dish out these inputs and it's given for free. No, we are doing it in a structured manner. So it's given to you, you produce, you have to pay back so that we can revolve it and move on to support another cycle of production or go on to other areas and on board more people. The private sector is also leveraging. So if you take poultry, when we went, we had the starter pack, we had feed, but we didn't have the structures. And so the private sector is leveraging their structures, opening it up. We can onboard the youth, train them under the private sector partners, and then they can become growers. So on Happy, if you join, it can, in the areas where there's irrigated lands, if you're onboarded, you have access to the land to do the production under guidance. You're not there to do it as you would want, but there are protocols you have to follow, and then you'll be able to produce. You sell, you make margins, but also then you recover the input so that we can roll over another cycle of it, and that way we can be systematic in our expansion. Okay. So you can have access to training as well. We are doing demonstrations, we are doing trainer of trainers, we are doing farmer field schools, all of that, plus linkage to the markets, linkage to financial institutions. So as you gain the skills and the know-how, we will graduate you to become an in-grower to some of the private sector partners. You can become an outgrower. Okay. And then at that point, we can link you to access to finance so that you can now stand on your own 2 feet and then become a producer or an enterprise. So yes, on this program, there's some support for inputs, land, mechanization services, when the private sector would mobilize those and the farmers pay for, but at least they can arrange for it. And then there's also training and access to markets.
Okay. We have 3 minutes to go. So I'm going to share the 3 minutes among the three of you. There are 2 questions. You can pick whichever one you want. What support can be given to smallholder farmers to advance their business? And then the second one is with regards to boosting our agri agenda. Sorry, access to inputs has been, I think I'm giving, there's one for you. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. However, the question is, what critical elements hinder Ghana's ability to advance and growth in agriculture? So the support to be given to smallholder farmers or advancement in agriculture. You can pick, but you have a minute.
I think the support is, what farmers need are the inputs that was spoken about. We are working with them, so we understand. Most of them are still going the manual way. And we will we come here every year, we talk about it. Now, what steps are we taking? At the educational or administrative level, a lot of things are going on. How does it get, and it all for me in person, I think how does it get to the ground? Yeah. The government has a policy, I mentioned it, about ensuring that input access is within very limited radius for farmers. If you check the statistics, how many have been established? So I think these things are very simple things that farmers need. Mechanization. You go to some areas, you need machinery, you need equipment. We have 16 regions. How many mechanization centers or whatever can you even count across board? Yet we are craving for more money within the sector. Okay. So I think that we should have friendly policies that gets down to the ground and even includes the youth as well. Because I mean... Okay,
your 1 minute is up.
Yes.
All right, so for me...
Now it's reduced to 30 seconds.
Okay, for me...
Well, my director is harassing me.
For me, I think that doing agriculture, you cannot borrow at 30%, 35%. No, it cannot be done. So we need partnership. Partnership with government, partnership with other private sector, partnership with other funders for us to be able to reduce the interest rates for farmers. In terms of SMEs or smallholders reaching us, they can reach us as financial institutions through our various branches across the regions. But also, if there is an agribusiness within your area that is strong, they can come to us. We finance them. This finance is passed on to you, whether they are rural banks, whether they are MFIs or agribusinesses. We are able to lend to them so that it reaches the smallholders.
Great.
So for
20 seconds.
Yeah. So for support to smallholder farmers, as we are continuously doing, we'll keep on giving them the training that they require and also making available storage. We are currently setting up a blending unit in Tamale to make sure that as part of our crop prescription unit, we give them the right fertilizers, blended right in their locations. And for advancement, I think we should look beyond just planting, harvesting, but we should also look at processing, packaging, and exporting. Exactly. So if we support our farmers in this way, I believe
thank you very much for the great insights. Now the conversation on Agri continues during the week on air, but on Friday we have another big one. The topic is understanding the agribusiness value chain, opportunities for additional revenue. This will be done on Friday, the 14th of June at the Alisa Hotel at 10 a.m. So you may want to join us there as well. I want to say thank you to our guest, our panel, Professor Irene Susanna Ejire. She's a farmer, a professor of agric and economics at and agribusiness. We also had Alberta Nana Echa-Akosa, founder, Agri House Foundation. Dorothy Opoku, AMG Fertilizers, General Manager Administration. William Bradford Nete, Head of Agribusiness at Absa Bank Ghana Limited. And of course, Juliana Asante Date joined us via Zoom. She's the Deputy Group CEO, Operations, Initiatives and Business Management at Agri Impact Limited. Now, today's program, our partner has been Absa Bank. Our sponsors, MTN Business Gersel, AMG Fertilizer, Insano Limited, Agri Impact Limited. We're powered by City FM and ChannelOne TV. My name is Vivian Kai Loco. Thank you so much for joining us. Stay tuned every morning on the breakfast show at 9:30 for more insights on agriculture. And we'll see you at Alisa Hotel this Friday at 10 a.m. for another big forum on agriculture. Thank you. Goodbye.